What if Tank Davis, who can punch, who is a hell of a fighter, who is a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, what if he lands a punch on this bigger guy's chin, right? Who's not a professional fighter? What happens?
They do it for real. Tank is highly capable of taking Jake Paul out. So the exhibitions that I like to see are ones that either I can mythically look at and say, wow, well, if he would have did that back when he was 10 years younger or 8 years or 12 years ago, he would have beat him. You understand me? Because we know boxing.
If he hits you because he's so accurate, he's gonna drop you or could put you to sleep. But like not necessarily power punch. Like Edwin De Los Santos is a hard hitter. He would even have a hard time with rollies. I'm not even.
Boxing legends are predicting a quick finish, with many believing Gervonta Davis will destroy Jake Paul within 3 rounds. Analyst Gareth A. Davis noted how Tank remained calm and quiet during the press conference, barely reacting to Jake's taunts. He added that while Davis appeared reserved outside the ring, once the bell rings, he'll unleash explosive combinations to silence Jake completely.
Went about the presser.
He reminds me of a northern football fan being dragged to a shopping centre on a Saturday afternoon rather than being allowed to go to his favourite Liverpool seat. You'll relate to that, won't you?
Yeah.
It was almost like he'd been shackled and dragged there against his will. Even when they faced off, it was as if Jake Paul had a bad smell about him or something. He didn't want to get near Jake Paul. He didn't want to. Just going to plug this in as well. I just realised it's not plugged in. It was almost as if he didn't want to indulge anyone at all. Like he'd signed up against his will, and then like he'd been signed up against his will. The agents and his manager and his handler had dragged him there without briefing him on what was going on and where it would be and what time it would take place. And there was this oaf in his mind standing there in front of him, this big oaf who kept posturing, and it just didn't do anything to him. I wondered at one point whether he was going to burst out with a combination of punches or something and just drop Jake Paul, who was being, measuring him up and going down to his height, and it was all very peculiar in my view. Like he really wasn't taking it seriously.
Ryan Garcia hasn't held back his frustration over the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, calling it a complete insult to the sport. He criticized the massive size and weight difference between the two, saying it turns a matchup into a spectacle rather than a legitimate boxing contest. According to Ryan, boxing should be about skill, legacy, and fair competition, not social media hype or financial gain. Watching a smaller, naturally lighter fighter like Davis face a much bigger opponent like Jake Paul feels wrong to him, especially when it's promoted as competitive. Garcia believes this kind of event sends a wrong message to young fighters, that hype and money matter more than discipline and respect. To him, it's not entertainment. It's a mockery of boxing's true integrity.
Mainly Jake's end, we're not falling for the Disney Channel bit no more. We're not falling for you're not a fighter no more. We're not falling for that. You're ranked as a cruiserweight and you're out here trying to fight a lightweight. And then on top of it, you were just talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. That doesn't make no sense. And, I just felt like it was a disgrace to boxing and kind of it was not a good move by Jake Paul. I understand people saying, Gervonta got to go get his money, blah, blah, blah. But, we're not talking about that shit. We're talking about the sport, bro. We're not talking about, you got to get that money, bro. Yeah, but everybody's open to criticism. That's the whole point of this media shit. Right. That's why they talk about basketball players. They don't talk about, LeBron's making too much. Nobody cares, bro. If LeBron's missing the shot, he's missing the fucking shot. So at the end of the day, bro, I just thought it was a disgrace to the sport. Because on one end, you got the casuals, right? The casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Yeah. And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fighter. Yeah. And to me, that's just it's tricking the public, and it's kind of bullshit, bro, at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, if Gervonta was Jake Paul's size, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. There probably wouldn't even be a fight. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just think that It's a disgrace to boxing.
Well, we got to play devil's advocate because people are saying, well, Ryan, you called out Jake Paul before too, so how would you say that? What do you have to say to the people that were saying that?
Well,
to you?
I'm way bigger than Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is 5'4", and his last fight was at 133. My last fight was 147, and I walk around 170. So, I mean, 170 to 190, whatever, however big is not too much difference. But you got Gervonta Davis, he's actually really small. Like, when I fought him, he's small.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a very unfair fight. Nobody was complaining when Jake Paul was fighting Julio Cesar Chavez.
Right.
Nobody was complaining when he's fighting Anthony Joshua. And I still think Jake Paul's a cool dude. But shit, he's calling me out on my shit. I'm gonna call him out on his shit, bro. That's a fucking disgrace of a fight.
Yeah.
You know it. Just like Mike Tyson, low key was a disgrace, but we accepted it. But
Yeah.
he was 60 years old. I mean,
Right.
what the f we talking
He's
about
60.
here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sean Porter views the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul matchup through the lens of a veteran, seeing it as a reflection of boxing's shifting priorities. He believes today's generation of fighters is more focused on fast paydays and long-term greatness. In his eyes, Tank Davis has joined the growing list of boxers chasing money instead of legacy-defining fights. Porter explained that legends of the past risked their records for glory, facing the best to secure their place in history. Now, many fighters prioritize brand deals, social media fame, and short-term profit. While Porter acknowledges Davis's immense talent, he feels it's being wasted on sideshow bouts rather than true tests of greatness. His criticism extends beyond Tank. It's aimed at a modern boxing culture driven by money over meaning, one that's slowly eroding the sport's soul and tradition.
I ain't even gonna call it a fight, because it ain't. If Jake Paul's involved in it, it's a great acting job, You know Mike Tyson could have just knocked Jake Paul's face into the canvas, but he got paid to pull punches, otherwise he wouldn't have got paid. I'm pretty sure the same is going for Gervonta Davis. It's a quick money grab. Yeah, most of y'all gonna be suckers who tune in. It's just quick money grab. That's all I'm saying. Ain't gonna be no fight. I don't give a fuck how big Jake Paul is. He can't take one of them little mother tank punches. And tank move furniture. Move furniture. Catch that motherfucking move furniture. And Jake don't like his furniture moved, so he gonna pay him not to hit him again. If you really want to show out Gervonta, sign a contract that you ain't gonna hit him, because if you hit him, you lose all the money. And then whoop that motherfucker's ass, put him to sleep, and get him out the boxing game once and for all. Just go up here.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more boxing updates and analysis next time.